Hey, Mr. Canada, how you doing? How you doing? Come on in. Come on in, man. Let me talk to you for just a moment. Hey, it won't take that long at all, I promise. Come on in. Yeah, sit right there, right in front of me. Not back there behind me, right in front of me so I can get a good look at you. Hey, before we get started, I just want to ask, how's your day going so far? Oh, really? Okay, good. Glad to hear that. This won't take long, I promise. Hey, before we dive into it, I just want to say I truly thank you for everything that you've done for this organization, which is absolutely nothing. You have done nothing for this organization with a Hall of Fame quarterback, a young rookie, a young second-year player, and still nothing. You have done nothing but drain the blood out of the soul of this city and this fan base. How is it possible that you don't have at least one 400-yard total offensive game? How is that possible? How? You've done absolutely nothing. The only thing that you've done well, you have made me despise the word Canada. And I love the country. But because of you, anything associated with the word Canada, I can't do. I will not drink Canada Dry. I will not eat Canadian bacon. And I will not even listen to Drake because it's all associated with the word Canada. And that is because of you. The only thing that you've done for me today that gives me great pleasure is to inform you that you are fired. Fired. Get your and get out of here. Boy, that felt good. They fired Canada. They fired Canada. What's happening? SteelerNation. What is popping? What is going on? Why do I have on this ridiculous Christmas hat? Well, Christmas has come early. Christmas has come early for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Steeler fan base. They fired Canada. Listen, before I get started, I am not sitting here. I'm not sitting here applauding a man losing his job. I'm not. I'm human. I have a heart. But it's a results-driven business. You guys have been asking for it. The media have been asking for it. Y'all want it. Christmas in November. You got it. Something that I did not expect the Steelers to do. Not in a million years would I have ever expected the Pittsburgh Steelers organization to fire a coach during the season. But it happened. Christmas come early. But hey, now that that's out of the way, give me a second. Let's get back to the real business here. All right, let's get at it, guys. Let's get at it. Y'all already know what the show is about today. I don't even have to tell y'all, right? I don't even have to tell you. Y'all know what the show is about today. I'm going to give my thoughts. I'm going to dive right into it. There's no need to really talk about anything else because I want to leave all room available for those of you who want to call in. I want to leave a lot of space and room for you guys to call in. I expect a lot of phone calls tonight. Let me take a look. Let me see who's in the queue already. Let's see. Oh, okay. Only 3 calls so far. But I want to leave you guys plenty of room to get down. Oh, hold on. Excuse me. We've got a donation. Round of applause to the master of music. He said I had the suit and the office This was the biggest office visit ever. Yes. I had to do it. You know, we got to have a little fun every now and then, right, guys? Right? Y'all appreciate it. But thank you for the donation. And listen, I'm going to get some small business out of the way first, and then we diving right into it because I got a lot of thoughts, a lot of opinions. Listen, I will still continue to say it's not completely Matt Canada's fault. It's not. But Matt Canada has not delivered. Matt Canada plays a big part in the lack of offense. We've seen it with Ben Roethlisberger, even though it was an aging Ben Roethlisberger, and we've now seen it with basically 2 seasons, and not full seasons, but basically 2 attempts at it with one Kenny Pickett and 1 season being this season, a full off season with Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett is a part of that mess as well, because I'm going to get into that. But we're going to talk about it, man. But, you know, let me get some quick business out the way first. And then I'm diving right into my thoughts and feelings. Injury report, Minkah Fitzpatrick is in line to perhaps play on Sunday. We'll see how that goes. We definitely need Minkah Fitzpatrick back. If he doesn't play in this game, I'm curious to know why they didn't move the IR route. Because he would have been out 4 weeks anyway. And this would, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, this would make his 4th week, right? So if Minkah isn't able to play, I'm not sure what they were saving there by not putting him on IR. I don't know. But I would love for Minkah Fitzpatrick to get back. Please get back, man, because we desperately need it on that back end, even though we didn't have to see much take effect against us, against Cleveland, as far as stress in the secondary and things of that nature, because, you know, simply put, DTR wasn't asked to do much. They protected him the best they could. He wasn't asked to do much. Shout outs to Reggie Reg as well for the donation. Appreciate that, brother. Reggie Red said, how did you get fired on your day off? Well, I mean, apparently he's some relation to Craig getting fired on your day off. But it happened, man. It happened. Yeah, there it is, man. Also, Montravius Adams, Mon, as Coach Tomlin calls him, is also working to get himself back. And, you know, I actually don't know how much his coming back is going to matter. I mean, definitely, let me not throw shade at Montravius Adams. Adams has been playing good football this year, man. He really surprised me because coming into this season, I didn't think that we did enough at nose tackle, and there was questions there. But Montravius Adams has played pretty good when he was healthy. And if not anything else, he definitely helps with rotation. And the reason why I say that, because I think it's hard to get Keanu Benton off the field now. Benton is having a great start to his career, and he's perking, you know, and he's popping off the screen a lot when you watch the game in the trenches, okay? He's not making a lot of sacks or whatever, you know, all of the highlight stuff that people look for. But if you look at what he's actually doing, the kid is playing and playing well. So I think it's going to be hard to get him off the field. But you just have another component in Adams that you can keep guys fresh. So I'm happy to see that. Absolutely happy to see that. And that's probably about it, I think, from an injury standpoint. Hold on, man. We got another donation from my good brother, Tony. Appreciate the donation, my brother. Donations coming in, boy. Coming in. Donations coming in. And Tony says here, he said, brother, Canada fired and we eating good Thursday. Don't forget, Miles Jack is back. Oh, I got you. I'm going right there, Tony. And yeah, Tony said we eating good on Thursday. My good brother will be in the building Thursday. My wife and I are hosting Thanksgiving at our home. Can I be honest with y'all for 2 seconds? It's going to be like 30 people. Not looking forward to all of that. As far as all that comes with after the Thanksgiving. But I'm absolutely looking forward to everyone who's coming. We're going to have a great time. But let me tell you, this is probably the first time that we've hosted. Yeah, it's a lot of work. But hey, We love it, man. We're grateful to have family to enjoy Thanksgiving. And, all of y'all know, we moved into the new home in April. So it feels good to be able to host something and just be able to be thankful for family and having loving family around. So it should be a good time. Like I said, my brother Tony would be in the building. And we got football, family. There you have it. So some of you in the chat are asking to talk about replacements. Y'all know where I stand with replacements, and I'll just speak on this really quick. I don't know just yet. Y'all know I don't always necessarily know coaches and their background. Should we give Byron Leftwich a try? I mean, we'll see. If the Steelers put together his resume and he interviews correctly and all of that, I'm not opposed to that. He did have success in Tampa, but let's not forget he had success with Tom Brady. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not knocking Byron Leftwich. I'm just saying I don't know enough of his pedigree in terms of him as an offensive coordinator because I didn't watch Tampa games like that. But if he's a good candidate, bring him in. What about Ken Dorsey? I mean, to me, Ken Dorsey had been successful up until recent history here with the Bills, just kind of looking at how the Bills were able to thrive offensively over the years. What about guys like, dare I say it, Steelers are more of a running type of team anyway, not necessarily the same type of mobile quarterback, but what about a Greg Roman? I don't know. Like I said, some of you guys are probably more equipped on that end. I will do my research, but most of you guys probably pay more attention to that than I do in terms of who the OCs are for each team and how successful they have been and haven't been. But we got plenty of time to get into that. But yeah, I did just want to address that really quick. So, all right, do I have anything else? Yeah, I do have another little minor piece of information to get into. Tony already mentioned it. Let's talk about some of the roster moves. Guys, I'm hearing that Blake Martinez was signed to the 53-man roster because we've signed him off of someone else's practice squad. Keep an eye on that. The fact that he's on the 53, does he get any playing time, right? Because if I remember correctly, I could be off by a week, but I think when you sign someone to your 53 from a practice squad, I think they have to be on your roster for 3 weeks. Excuse me. It's either 3 or 4 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Some of you guys can correct me in the chat. And also Miles Jack. Miles Jack is back. Like Tony said, Coach Tomlin said that today, and he explicitly said, yeah, he's back in a practice squad capacity. Interesting. It's interesting that he said that because he didn't speak. If I remember correctly, I don't think he necessarily spoke to Blake Martinez. I think somebody asked him about it, but I'll be honest with y'all and say I don't remember the exact response, but I do remember him saying that Miles Jack is back in a practice squad capacity. He made it his business to say that. Read into that. I kind of do because I told you, Tomlin will tell you what he's trying to say. Sometimes he does it in a very slick way. Sometimes he puts the candy, the medicine in the oatmeal, in the applesauce and feed it to you that way. You just got to look for it. But I thought it was interesting that he basically highlighted the fact that Miles Jack is in a practice squad capacity. Also, what he talked about, well, he didn't talk about it, but we've seen reports that Eric Rowe has, had a look with the Steelers, I want to say on Friday or one of those days. I haven't checked. Oh, actually, you know what? Why am I saying I don't know when I usually do this in real time with you guys anyway? So let's just take a look and see what we see as far as transactions. Let me take a quick look. Y'all know I do everything live, man. Let's see. Transactions. The Steelers have signed DB Henry Black to the practice squad, and they released Tyler Murray from the practice squad. I don't know either one of those gentlemen. Hold on. We do. Another donation. Shout outs to C. Antoine Hill. Round of applause, good brother. He says, Canada's gone, but I think the Steelers are going to use this time to evaluate KP to see if they want to grab another QB. I want Dju, man. Okay. Well, listen, that's obvious. I definitely think that they're going to evaluate Kenny Pickett will it determine what will they by any chance look for a quarterback in 2024's draft? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I really don't. It may come down to what Kenny Pickett does in these last 7 games. I still don't think they're going to replace him. Honestly, this is what I think. I do think that this kind of shows that they have a little faith in Kenny Pickett possibly being able to develop under someone else. I think that's what this move shows me. That they have more hope, or they're looking to still develop Kenny Pickett by moving the coordinator. Just my opinion. I have no way of knowing that, but then, if you kind of just look at what they're doing, and if you kind of use, try to use a little intelligence with your speculation, that's what it would seem like to me, is that they really think that's more so the problem than it is the quarterback. But it could be twofold. They could also be evaluating the quarterback as well, and they get that piece out the way and see what he does now. But it just would make me think that they're going to give him a shot with the next coordinator. To me, that's just kind of common sense and logic, that they're going to give him a shot with the next coordinator. We'll see. And it makes sense, man. First round investment. It just makes sense that they would do that. So those are my thoughts. But outside of that, man, I think I'm ready to dive into the real topic. Excuse me. Let's talk about everything that we know about what happened with the Matt Canada situation. I don't want to be too lengthy here, guys. And y'all know I freestyle everything, man. I don't have anything written down or planned. I'm just going to get to it. Is this the only problem with the Steelers offense? That answer is no. I'm here to tell you, just like I've been telling you for weeks, it is both Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada are the culprits of why this offense is the worst that we may have ever seen in the Steelers history. It's got to be competing for the worst if it ain't the worst. And I think both of them are at fault. I've continued to say that Matt Canada's plan, his route combinations and concepts, his situational play calling has just been in the toilet. It just has. I even tried to give Matt Canada a pass. Remember the Ben Roethlisberger years? What was I saying? Nah, man, I think, it's because they probably want a guy a little more mobile. Ben can't do that no more. Ben is more like a sitting duck. He's a statue. But then most of us said, and a lot of you guys in the chat said, yeah, that might be true. I remember Destiny saying specifically, that might be true, but you got to make the best out of what you have. Fact. Didn't do that with Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, Ben wasn't Ben of yesteryear, but Ben was still good enough to make throws and win football games, given the right situation. When Ben was there his last year, when we would go and hurry up, the offense started to peak a little bit. But when we stuck to the script, and remember, y'all know our beloved Ben Roethlisberger with his passive aggressiveness. Remember when he used to say stuff like, I got to go with the plays that are called. When Ben says that, he's being funny. And if you've been catching his podcast or watch clips from his podcast and you hear how he speaks on Matt Canada, then you know what we all assume was fact, how he really felt. So that is the Matt Canada part. The Kenny Pickett part is Kenny also hasn't been consistent. Kenny has missed some layups, to use a football analogy, a basketball analogy in football. He's missed some bunnies, some straight layups. He's missed them. He's been inaccurate at times. He's also been accurate this season. There's times where I was like, oh, that was a good throw. But then he's been inconsistent more than he's been consistent, if that makes sense. And I still want to know, why did he regress so much from starting to show signs the latter part of his first rookie season, playing last 4 or 5 games, looking good in preseason, and then it just seems like started to regress. Why is that? It's sometimes that I feel like there's throws that's right there that he's missing. One that comes to mind right away And I was at the game. Remember that throw that he missed to George Pickens crossing his face against the Jags? I mean, how you missed that one? Clean pocket and all. But then I remember throws that he made even against the Titans. That throw down the sideline to Deontay Johnson in the hole. Beautiful. The deep shot to Calvin Austin early in the year. Who was that against Cleveland, I think? Beautiful. He's made some throws, but he has been way too inconsistent. And like Tomlin says, routinely, he's not making the routine plays routinely. That's concerning. He's also fixed his pocket awareness a little bit, but I saw some moments in this Browns game where he went back to his ways. The whole spin out to the right. There was a couple times where if he would have stepped in the pocket, I even showed you folks who are able to see the all-22. I showed y'all in the previous footage, there was moments where he should have stepped in the pocket. And had he done that, he's making an easy throw to someone or he's seeing someone. Had he done that, he still has areas in those areas where he needs to improve and he has to play better. Point blank, period. But here's the thing. Here's the fact. Here's what we all can look forward to. Those who hate Kenny Pickett and those of you who hope he plays better and think that it's more coordinator, we about to see. The gloves are off. No more excuses for Kenny Pickett. And this is coming from someone who has said and will still say, I think he has some talent. I think there's something there. I just don't know if he will, if it will all come together. I don't know anymore. I'm starting to be a little more concerned than I was heading into this season after seeing how he finished last season, how he played in preseason. I was a little optimistic. I still felt even at that time, he still got some rough edges to fix, but I felt more optimistic. After watching this season, I don't have the same optimism, but I do think there's talent there because I've seen it. I just don't know if that talent is ever going to come out or if it's ever going to get to the level of him being his best self. We about to see. Whether that be these remaining 7 games or the 2024 season, we about to see, brother. So Kenneth, just want to make sure you hear me. It's right here, brother. It's on your shoulders now. We looking right at you. There's no more scapegoat, as they say. And I will say this, guys, from a Steelers standpoint, I'm happy to see that they are at least attempting to step outside of their stubborn ways. Happy to see it. And I'm going to address 2 things right now that I think I need to address really quick. Then I'm going to the phone calls. Let's start with the organization. We found out today that the Pittsburgh Steelers, the last time that the organization itself fired a coach or a positional coordinator mid-season was 1941. And at that time, they weren't operating as the Steelers. I'm going to pause for a moment, and I want that to sink in to some of you in this chat. Quite a few of you in this chat. 1941. I'm willing to bet a majority of people in this chat weren't even born then. There may be a few of y'all out there that were, because I have learned that I have quite a wide viewership from age to gender to whatever you identify to or identify as. I have a wide range of viewers, and I've learned that there's some older folk who watch that may have been born then. But even if you were, you was a child, a little child in most cases. Let that sink in. So for everyone that kept coming on every week, all y'all sending me messages, people I even know close to me, and you know who you are. I don't know why they don't. I said, because the organization don't get down like that. Everybody tried to put it on Tomlin's head, right? Blaming Coach Tomlin. Now, I will say Tomlin is loyal. We know that. But everybody was dumping it all on him for a team that had not done that since 1941. You think Chuck Noll may have by chance had some people he might not really wanted to have on his staff? Do you think Bill Cowher at any point felt like he wanted to change his staff before contracts expired? Do you think that's a possibility? I'm just asking. Because I'm telling you, y'all told me that it was Coach Tomlin completely. It's hard for me to believe that when organizationally, it hasn't happened since 1941. So that's number one. Number two, let's talk about the reports. I'm not going to call any names because I ain't messy like that. But some of y'all reporters, I will say this. Some of the reporters and media pundits, y'all really show y'all hand with y'all reports and how you put your narratives to it. Boy, it was so many reports that came out. Oh, no, don't give him the credit because, AR2 had to step in and all of these reports, right? And then you saw the media running with that narrative. Yeah, the owner had to step in and all because Tomlin was too much of a coward. And boy, I seen it from the media to the fans. Shout outs to Pat McAfee, though, because Pat McAfee was probably one of the only ones that I saw correct the reporting once he heard. Same thing I heard. That's why I love Pat McAfee. Real dude he seems like to be. He was one of the only ones that I heard change his stance after he heard the press conference. And I respect that. Because before that, all you could do was run with the reporting. And I love when people say, according to reports. That's fine. But a lot of people weren't doing that. Even some of the reporters that cover the Steelers, they were trying to just spin the narrative that it was only Art Rooney II, my man, AR2, and they was kind of slightly throwing Tomlin under the bus. But then what happened? Here's my second point to Mike Tomlin. What happened at his press conference? He said, I made the decision. He started talking like that, and then one of the reporters went in and they asked him later, so you saying that you basically was the one, was ownership a part of that or whatever? He said, no, I solely did it. I'm going to give you a round of applause for that, Mike, but then I got some criticism for you too. So round of applause for doing it. But Coach T, this is where I'm going to get at you though, even though you're my guy, because I personally like you as a coach. If you have had full autonomy all along, what took you so long? But I will kind of say that with a hesitation because I don't know. Because again, my first point, I said organizationally, they have not fired since 41. So even with Tomlin saying he made the decision, here's what I think. Tiggs a lot. 1 second. I don't want to forget this point. Actually, no. Let me go to him and I'll come right back. Round of applause for the donation. I appreciate it. Good point. He says, I think the stubbornness is what causes the coaches to become so complacent. There's no fire under their, you see what he says there, to improve because there's no consequences. Possibly. It's possible, but You know, that's opinion, so I won't dive too far into that, 'cause I don't think that, man. Me personally, and again, taking my feelings aside from how I feel about Mike Tomlin, I don't think he's doing that. He doesn't appear to be that type of coach. There's other coaches that we've seen in the NFL over the years that you could kind of say that. But I just don't personally think that. I do think Mike Tomlin is loyal. Clearly, he's loyal. You know, we've seen that based on how the hires have always been internally. So, and you know, that might be a fault, you know, and I will say that may be a fault from the eyes of us consumers. Yeah. You know, I will appreciate him saying today that normally, and y'all know this, normally he said, I usually absorb these things. I absorb these things and I usually don't, you know, deflect it. And that has been a fact. A lot of times he eats a lot of the criticism, and he never throws the coaches or players under the bus, which is a fact. So you got to appreciate that as well. But at the end of the day, man, he said he made a decision. This is what I think really happened. I think he wanted to do it. He may have gone to Art Rooney and pleaded his case, and then Art Rooney stamped the approval, and then Mike Tomlin proceeded to fire. That's what I think happened. I have no evidence of that. Let me qualify myself and say I have zero evidence of what really happened. I'm just using educated speculation. Why can I say educated speculation? Because we learned today the Steelers have not fired a coach or coordinator in season since 1941. That sounds like an organizational trait. So I'm just using logic to say, if Mike Tomlin is saying he made the decision and he's owning that, sounds like to me he went and had a conversation with the big guys and said, listen, this is what I want to do. This is why. And they signed the approval, and that's what happened. Those are just my thoughts. Okay, so I'm learning here that some of you guys feel like that Rooney did it, and you know, Tomlin had nothing to do with it. And all I'm saying is this. Let me ask y'all a real question. And I hate talking about myself because I don't do that. But I am going to talk about myself for a second. Did y'all see how I sat here and I said what I think happened? And I'm very clear in saying I'm speculating, but I'm just trying to use logic. Do y'all know why I do that? Because I don't know. I have no facts. I have no proof. I have no way to prove it. So I just don't understand how some of y'all can speak so confidently. The last time I checked, none of y'all work for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last time I checked, maybe somebody's in here that does, but I'm going to just, again, try to use some logic. Last time I checked, none of y'all know Art Rooney or Mike Tomlin personally. So how is it that you can speak so confidently? I just don't do that. And this is me. This is my personality. This ain't just Steelers stuff. That's just who I am. I don't do that. I never do that. I only speak on things confidently that I know that's a fact. If I don't know it's a fact, I just give my logic, but I don't spew it at you guys like I know. No, I do not do that. Some of y'all in the chat are so hell-bent on this is what happened, but how do you know? So I'm just being honest and saying I can't always take those comments seriously because it feels like it's a narrative to it. Whatever the narrative is whatever it is, but it seems like there's some type of, and this is just people, it's human nature for some people to use narrative to match their theory. I try not to do that, especially in a setting like this, because I have no way of knowing, man. That's just me. Like Miss Destiny said, what up, Destiny? She says, we don't know, Sim. And that's the fact. That's how we all should walk away from this as fans. We don't know. Let's just look at the flip side of it. Matt Canada's gone. So why do we care who did it? See, that's the narrative. People that don't like Tomlin ain't gonna give him no credit. They're gonna say the owner did it. People who love Tomlin will probably overly say, man, it was Tomlin's decision. All I'm saying, the man sat there in that conference today and he said he did it. So I could take that at face value. It was reported that the Rooney's did it. So again, if I just use A and B and try to equal C, A tells me Mike Tomlin decided he needed to make change. For however long it took, I agree with y'all, but he finally said we got to do something now. He went and talked to B, which is the ownership, and said, this is what I want to do. And C is they both agreed that we will move forward with relieving Matt Canada of his duties. That's the only logical thing I can come up with, because I don't know why Mike Tomlin would continue to say in his conference, if he knows they did it upstairs. That's all I'm saying, folks. I don't know that man personally to say he's just lying. He's just lip service. When y'all do that, you show how you really feel about him. That has nothing to do with what is actually happening in this organization. That's your personal feelings towards a guy, because there's no way we can prove any of that. I think the most logical scenario is he, according to him, decided he wanted to move on. He discussed it with the organization. The only reason why I throw that in there, because again, 1941. The organization did something that none of us thought we would do. Remember, I'm the one sitting here saying he ain't going nowhere. I kept saying that because I don't believe that they would do it. It got done. So for that, I will say this. There you have it. But as far as personal, feelings and opinions, y'all have them. I'm not taking them from you. Let's see what we got in the phone queue, man. We got quite a few calls here. So y'all know the routine. Like, I know this is a unique situation, but I need to ask y'all, man, to please keep it brief. It's a lot of phone calls to get through. If you insist on your call being answered, because I can't always get to them all, leave a small super chat and put your area code in there so I know it's you, and I will move you up the ladder. But let's get to it. Like I said, my final thoughts on it, man. I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, one last thought. It was also reported, and I saw people running with this. Mike Sullivan is the new OC. That's what they ran with. But what did Tomlin say? Tomlin said, no, Eddie Faulkner is the OC, but Mike Sullivan will be calling the plays. See? That's why I just don't run with any narrative or any report until I get better information. And fortunately enough, we got better information according to Mike Tomlin, who did the firing and who the new offensive coordinator will currently be. And let me answer this question as well, because I got asked this earlier. Why didn't they bring in somebody from the outside? Come on, guys. There's no team in the NFL that's bringing a brand new offensive coordinator in week 12. Because guess what you're not going to do at this point of the season? You're not throwing in a brand new playbook. No, you're not. The Buffalo Bills didn't do that, did they? No, they basically upgraded, I think, their QB coach. So, again, don't make those type of determinations about the organization, because I saw it already, and people have asked me, man, see, same old Steelers, dog, week 12? Who you think they're gonna bring? All teams do that. They let somebody be the interim, and then we'll see. Hopefully they go on the outside, man, and get some new blood in there, when it's time. So, all right, let's get to these phone calls. We got the first one in the queue. We got area code still, and I think this is the young lady. I think it's Susie from last week. Somehow she's figured out how to raise the hand. I don't know how she did it, but it's got my attention, so I'm going to answer area code 470 first. What you got for us?
Hey, this is Susie, but I'll make it quick. First, I want to point out Jalen Warren won the Angry Runs of the week. But, of course, I'm happy about Canada, but I didn't think they would fire him, especially mid-season, since the last time was 1941. I'm only 14, so I've never seen it within the organization, but still nervous about Pickett. Guess we'll see if it was Canada or Pickett, but what I was going to call about was the tight ends. I know Fryermuth he's been out and just got back, but the tight end position really hasn't done anything for us. Darnell Washington has only been targeted 6 times this whole season, so do you think we'll try to use the tight end position more with this new offensive coaching?
Thank you, first of all, Susie. Let me take time and say thank you, young lady, for calling. And I'm only saying young lady because you said you're 14. So I'm going to respect you the same way I respect elders. Thank you, young lady. I appreciate you calling. I appreciate you watching because that's amazing. I could keep the attention of someone that's 14. And I say that with all positive because most of the time y'all look at people like us and say, what do you know? You old school. So I am humbled to know that I can keep your attention. So thank you for calling. I will answer your question. Let's just say this, Susie. I hope so. I really hope so. That's one of the things that's been a mystery, that they do not use the tight ends. I don't get it. They threw a little screen to Fryermuth, and Fryermuth, come on, man. You got to keep your feet because you have some room to run there. But I don't understand what that's about. We don't really see routes for the tight ends down the seams or over routes. So I'm gonna join in on your hope and say yes. I hope they do that as well. Maybe I'll say maybe. And you know what, Susie? That brings up another point. Those are the things that I'm looking for realistically as far as change in the offense. It's the same playbook, but what can be better is utilization of that playbook. You know, utilizing certain plays and in formations and situational play calling and getting more people involved and, you know, really opening up that book, attacking different areas of the field. Those are the things that we can see improvement in, even though it's the same installment of the playbook. But I'm hoping that Eddie Faulkner, along with Mike Sullivan, will introduce more of that and definitely incorporate the tight ends more. So beautiful call. Thank you for calling. We got a donation, man. So I got to stop and pause to give a round of applause to Sport 8. Sport 8 got quite a few questions. He says, now what? What's expected? Playoffs? Should Kenny be benched? I don't know what to make of this firing. Not sure to be happy or still concerned. I think that's a valid point, Sport 8, but I think what you got to do is really look at this as the Steelers trying to create a spark, trying to fight for what appears to be currently still playoff positioning, because we're currently in the playoffs if it ended today. And I think it's just recognition of saying, listen, man, we got to do something because this offense is stagnant. I think it's a shout out to the defense, trying to give them some help. What's expected is kind of what I just outlined to Susie. I expect to see a better attempt at offense. It's not to say it's going to work, but I would like to see different approaches to the offense. That's what's expected. Do I expect the Steelers to get to the playoff? I'll still say no because I haven't seen anything from the offense. I'm not just going to turn a blind eye to what we previously saw. They have to show us that the offense is starting to click a little more now that Canada is gone. So until I see that, I don't expect it. Could they go into Cincinnati and win that game? Perhaps, you know, according to how they kind of kept the Browns in check. I think it was right there for the taking. So what I would expect is that the offense produces more. You're not benching Kenny Pickett, guys. Again, Kenny Pickett is now auditioning. This is your interview now. And it is my belief that they will still give Kenny a shot even with the new coordinator. So even if they went out there and they drafted a new QB next year, Kenny is still okay, let me explain this. If for whatever reason, let's say Kenny doesn't play that great and Kenny just is still kind of by the end of the season, they're going to give him a chance with the new coordinator, even if they went out and drafted someone in 2024. It's going to be the Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett situation. Pickett will start, and then if he doesn't play well in his third season, they'll bring the rookie in. But I want to remind you guys that the Steelers are probably going to win. Right now, it's looking like I would estimate 9 games, maybe. Perhaps. If they do that, they're not picking early. And I understand there's Brock Purdy as the comparison. Oh, you don't have to pick early, but come on, y'all know everybody's always projected the better quarterbacks are going to be gone earlier. So are the Steelers still in position to do that? To get the best guy where they're probably going to pick in the draft? So it's a tough one. It's tough, sticky situation. But I appreciate it, man. Next up in the queue, area code 330. What you got for us? Hello, 330. Hey, man. No answer. I got to move on. Area code 443. What you got for us?
What's good, Sam? What's good? Thanks for taking my call, man.
Yes, sir.
You were right. You were right, homie. First of all, hello to all the ladies in the chat. Hope all y'all are well. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, including you and Sammy and your fam. You were definitely right about the problem not just being Canada. The problem is Kenny Pickett and Canada, but partially the offensive line and at least Percy Harvin's, at least this last game against Cleveland. All of them are to blame. These are Kenny Pickett's numbers real quick. Week 8, he was 10 for 16, 73 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Week 9, 19 of 30, 160 yards, 1 TD, 0 interceptions. Week 10, 14 of 23, 126 yards, 0 TD, 0 interceptions. Week 11, 14 of 27, 106, 0 TDs, 0 interceptions. If anybody ever watched Kenny Pickett play in college, this is Kenny Pickett. This is the most spot-on scouting report I ever heard in my life about a player. This is Kenny Pickett's scouting report. Doesn't always trust his protection. We've seen that.
Yeah.
Pocket presence remains a work in progress. We've seen that. Skittish tendencies. Is that not Kenny Pickett? Last thing. The reason why we've seen Kenny Pickett excel in certain areas is because a lot of times when he excelled, he was playing against man defense. What did Kenny Pickett say in his press conference? They expected Cleveland to play man defense.
That's what he said.
What did Cleveland do? Cleveland played a zone. Why did Cleveland play a zone? This is not my words. This is the defensive backs from Cleveland. They played a zone because they knew Kenny Pickett couldn't read the field, so they wanted him to get away from his first read. Thanks for taking my call, man.
Oh, man. I'm going to give you a round of applause for that call. Man, you cannot deny nothing that 443 just said there. That scouting report sounds a lot like Kenny Pickett. And thank you for reminding me of that, of him saying what he said after the game. And see, to me, that was an indictment, right? On himself, but also Matt Canada. Because when you come out and say we expected them to play man, it's funny. Y'all know who else told y'all that Cleveland plays a lot of man and they're going to come out and get right in your face and dare you to run it, put everybody in the box? Do y'all remember who else said that prior to the game? I said the same thing. That was my scouting report of Cleveland. But guess what Cleveland did? Yeah, we're going to switch it up. So what I expect the offensive coordinator and anyone else who has a hand in the offensive approach to adjust. Because again, I have no way to prove this, but after watching the All-22, yes, Kenny misses some throws. But have you guys repeatedly heard me say, man, I think it's designed for him to go to the first read. Granted, every NFL quarterback has a primary, but the good ones usually they recognize it quick and then they off it. And I feel like that is both Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada. Kenny Pickett, because if you can't read the field, I don't understand what's happening here. Matt Canada is, I think you're aiding into that. I think you're aiding into him not reading the. So it's like, it was a dumpster fire, man. But I'm telling you, the reason why I look at Matt Canada and Kenny Pickett is I've seen so many plays where it didn't matter if it was his first read or not. He locks in on it and throws it. There was no assessment. There was no stop and look and see. No. Hut, throw. The Jalen Warren swing pass or screen pass. Go back and watch that play. There was no receiver blocking. We have trips over there. None of them were blocking. None. They all went out in the routes. And Deontay and I think another guy came open. Because of how hard the defense bit on Jalen Warren, they hit the man 4 yards behind the line. But that was hut, throw. So in that case, that's those plays like that, and there's a ton of them. That's not reading the field. I'm going here regardless. And that is the question I wish someone could answer for me is, were you coached to do that for the scheme, or were you just making your decision to do that? But like I said, the question is going to be answered very quickly now. Canada's not there. We going to find out if it's skittish Kenny or if he was being told to do that. So that's what I'm excited about. We really going to get to see now. And if he ain't the guy, he ain't the guy. Don't bother me none. I want the guy. I want good quarterbacking, whether that's him, a new guy, or whoever else they bring in. Let's move on. Area code 803. That's Mr. Winningham. What you got for us, sir?
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. You know, that Susie, that was incredible. That and I believe 443. I love those phone calls. But that little Susie, she wants a career in sports. She does present the numbers to you. Where I start? You know, waking up this morning here in Canada was gone. That brought music to my ears. But like you said, Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada. Matt Canada probably have a job if you learn to work the field and throw the three very different and good tight ends. We got weapons, and we never worked the middle of the field. Those last two drives of the game were frustrating to watch because the defense gave us everything we wanted. The position of the field and time to go in there and do it. I believe, and I want your opinion on this, is it a possibility that Mike Tomlin knew eventually, because I know as a fan, he numbers me out sometimes. Could he have lost this locker room, have nothing been done, one way or the other?
Yeah.
I believe this locker room could be lost, or could have been lost, depending on Najee Harris, who doesn't say very much, but when he says it, he said enough for everybody to he said what needed to been said.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens for the rest of the season. Kenny got to get better. I don't know why Kenny looks so bad this year, but he has to get better. I hope everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Man, thank you as well, Mr. Winningham. And let me say that right back at you before I forget. I hope you have a lovely holiday Thanksgiving as well, man. We appreciate you. We always love your wisdom. We just love to hear you talk. We just love to hear what you have to say. What you said there was huge. Oh, man. Najee's statements, guys, that right there. And it's funny because if you like me, when you heard it and you saw the look in his face and that pause when they asked him, do you think everybody is a teammate? I was like, there's something going on, man. And to comment to what Mr. Winningham said, that very well could have been the straw that broke the camel's back. And Tomlin may have felt like, all right, I got to do something. Because sometimes as a leader, you got to recognize when it's time for you to pull a fast one, man, or do what's best. Because we've heard from numerous players and players that don't even play for the Steelers how much they admire Mike Tomlin and what he gets out of his players and how glowingly they talk of him. So I'm pretty sure y'all all been in a situation like that in your lifetime, right? Whether it was your parent, your best friend, your lady, your guy, where you felt like, oh man, like, oh, you gotta do that because I know you're not going. You know what I'm saying? They respect him, so I know there had to be something like, yo, why Coach T? That's my guy, but I don't understand why is he rocking with homie? Could have very well been something like that. And if it was, hey, I give credit for doing that. He did it. Because you can't lose the locker room. That's one thing you can't do as a coach. You can't lose the locker room. You can't. You're the head man. Everybody's going to look at you. You cannot lose the locker room. Before I get the next caller, man, I saw it, and I want to make sure I don't forget it. Round of applause to my man, Rel Fax. Appreciate the donation, my brother. Real Fact says, not opposed to the Steelers drafting a QB in the 4th through 7th round, but I doubt it, expecting KP to play out his last 2 years on these rookie contracts or this rookie contract. Yeah, the only thing that I would say to that Real Facts is, I mean, it's possible that, they can move on from him after next year. But I definitely agree that more than likely he plays next season. Absolutely. I fully agree with that right now. Even before seeing the rest of these 7 games, I do believe that Kenny Pickett is the guy next season, especially if there's a brand new coordinator from the outside. I think they're going to give him that opportunity. And again, let's think business here. It's a first round investment, man. The Steelers especially, but a lot of teams not willing to move on that quick. They gonna ride it until it hits them in the face. So there you go. But like Real Fact said, man, it could be the next 2 seasons. Who knows? We'll see. All right, I'm gonna grab a couple more, man. Let's see. Area code 570. What you got for us?
How you doing, Sim? So first of all, I want to echo something C. Antoine Hill said, right? You were talking a little bit ago about who made this decision. There is very few things I could care less about. I don't care who did it. It should have been done after week 2.
Yeah.
It is my strong belief, and I want to echo something you said, right? This is my belief. Obviously, I'm not in the locker room. I don't know. I don't think Tomlin was ever at risk of losing the locker room. I don't. I think these players really believe in him. But Tomlin, in his press conferences, has never had a problem calling out players about their play. What he never does is call out coaches. I really believe the last few weeks we've heard Mike Tomlin suggest things that need to improve, basically pointing to Canada like, dude, if you don't fix this, you're not going to have a job. And Najee, when he spoke to the media, it was really clear to me, in my opinion, they gave up on Canada. They were done. That was them not giving up on Tomlin, but telling Tomlin, like, look, do what you got to do. This has to stop. This all, really, to understand what's going on here, though, you got to go all the way back to the fact that Kevin Colbert drafted Kenny Pickett before he retired. I don't think he should have ever been allowed to make that selection. I'm not saying Kenny isn't the guy. I think the problems that he has right now, in theory, are correctable. Whether they correct them or not, that's who knows.
Yeah.
Everybody's calling out these potential replacement OCs. There is one name to watch, I think, because I think the head coach of that team is going to get fired, being Brandon Staley. Kellen Moore runs a really good Chargers offense right now. The problem with the Chargers isn't the offense, it's the really crappy defense. Kellen Moore was in Dallas. Who knows why they fired him there? Their offense was great. He's gone to the Chargers. Their offense is great. But in both of those places, the defense sucked. One point about the 1941 thing that a lot of people might not know. The guy that was fired in 1941, so Canada holds a special place in history. The guy that was fired in 1941 was Bert Bell, who at the time was not only the coach, but the owner. The difference was that Bert Bell fired himself. This is the first time since 1941, and possibly in Steelers history, that a coach fired another coach. The only other thing that I want to say, actually two things real quick. A new offense coordinator doesn't necessarily mean better results. Dan Moore is absolute trash. And whether it it helps or not, I absolutely think we should be taking a swing at Shaq Leonard, who was just cut by the Colts. Thank you for your call, or taking my call. And Susie, don't make that the last time you call in. You've given me hope for the new generation. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Round of applause for this call. Man, absolutely wonderful call there. And yes, Susie, you're giving us hope. You are giving us hope. But my man said a lot right there, and it's impossible for me to recap everything that he said there. But I, too, believe in a lot of what he said. Listen, I've been saying it. I've been echoing that. I think Kenny Pickett's problems are correctable. Whether he corrects it or not is in question. Just like he just said, just like I've been saying. And that's the reason, guys, why I'm like, listen, they're going to give him a chance. Because, yeah, he's played bad, but I do think his things are correctable. I don't know if he's a 15-year starter, but I do think the issues that he's having are correctable. So there you have it. 2 donations I got to recognize, man. The master of music, as well as, who's this? Autumn. It's not showing me the whole name, so I'll just say Autumn. Round of applause. All right, let's get to master of music. He says Boswell is probably the happiest player of all on that team. Yeah, y'all remember that controversy a while ago, and they said that Boswell was talking about Matt Canada. That was pretty funny. Autumn says Steelers should hire someone from Kyle Shanahan's tree. Hey, I would not be opposed to that, and that actually reminded me of what the caller said. Man, Kellen Moore. Now, that's somebody that I can say, yeah, I've seen his offense, because I watch a lot of NFC East football when the Steelers are not playing, because it's competitive. Even though the teams haven't always been great, it's competitive. So I just so happen to watch a lot of that. And Dallas, man, I don't understand why they got rid of Kellen Moore either. Yes, proven. 2 offenses where he's a younger guy as well. He's shown that he can get it done and put points on the board. So I would welcome that with open arms. Let's see. What else do we got here? We got another donation. My man, White Diggy. Round of applause to my good brother. He says, if KP8 don't improve, Khan can put his stamp on it with a QB of his choice, even if that means trading up 2 He says number 9. He says is number 93's days gone numbered with all of the inside linebacker moves. That's a great question, Why Diggy. I heard the good people at Steelers Depot say the same thing. Writing might be on the wall for Mark Robinson, and I'm gonna join in Why Diggy and say he's looking like number 93 right now. The only reason why I won't take his name away from him is he hasn't had a lot of playing time as a defender. So I'll respectfully still call him Mark Robinson for now. But yeah, he's looking like another number. And yeah, with all of those moves, it clearly seems like the Steelers may have gone away from him. So there you have it. So guys, I'm gonna take one more call, man. I got time for one more. I do understand I have a few in the queue, but I told you guys, man, I got to get to them. Can't get to them all because of time restraints and things like that. So last call of the night. But again, if you want me to definitely answer your call and move up the queue, you can drop a super chat donation. Give me your area code, and I will take the call. But unless that happens, 214 will be the final call. Area 214, what you got for us?
Hey, Sam. Hey, Steelers football family. This is Brent Fox calling you from Dallas, Texas.
My man, what's up, Brent?
Hey, Sam. I just want to gift everyone, since we're in the holiday spirit, what you gifted me back in 2016 when we lost to the New England Patriots for the AFC Championship game. Our Killer B window closed back then, well, with the exception of Jacksonville the following year. The window officially closed then. But the window was closing at that point in time, and I was really frustrated. But you gave me a real perspective on what was actually going on. So I just want to make sure that I bless my family with that perspective that you gave me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, public service announcement. Just because Matt Canada has been removed from his position does not necessarily mean that the playbook has gone anywhere. The same players that you know and possibly hate are still going to be around. Please do not get frustrated if you see a few jet sweeps, a few jailbreak screens, and my personal favorite, the vertical route, possibly on first down instead of third and long. but I think that there may be some improvement when we play Cincinnati. I don't think it's going to be as drastic as everybody thinks it will be, but I think there will be actual improvement as far as us being able to move the ball up and down the field and possibly score. But we are still a run first based team. So you're not going to see some aerial display or anything like that come Sunday. Now, if I got to eat crow and be wrong about that, I'll do that. But I just want to offer you guys a realistic perspective, and I don't want y'all to go in thinking that Kenny all of a sudden is going to pass for 350 yards and George Pickens is going to eat everything up with 9 catches for 130 yards or something like that, and 2 TDs or something like that. That's just not a realistic expectation for right now. True progress, true growth is a process. It is not going to happen overnight. It is incremented within weeks and then months and then eventually years. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind. I think that we'll probably head in the right direction, but it is going to take a little time. Thank you for taking my call, Sam.
Man, absolutely, Brandon. We throwing a round of applause for that one. Man, listen. I would strongly suggest you guys take heed to Brent's advice there. Yeah, and that's pretty much what's going to happen, man. Again, that's the same reason why you don't bring a brand new coordinator off the street into your building at week 12. You know, Mike Sullivan and Eddie Faulkner know the playbook. So the best that we can hope for is they're going to utilize it better and take some of the plays that they like and, you know, to make it a little more robust, you know, put some more route concepts out there and things like that. Maybe switch a few things here and there that they can install. Ben Roethlisberger used to say, yeah, we installed that earlier in the week. There's always little tweaks and things you can do, but it's not going to be this entirely different scheme. But I hope they're going to utilize the best portion of the playbook, and situationally will be better. And that's all we can ask for, man. And we'll see. And I just want Kenny, man, to listen. Again, it was college, but if you go back and look at the 2021 season, somebody recently posted it on Twitter. Kenny was throwing the ball all over the field. Middle, outside the hashes, inside the hash, down the seam, outside the numbers. Like, he was doing it all. So it's not like he can't. I mean, again, the funniest thing is I get on Kenny for not really having anticipation. Remember the game, I want to say it was preseason in his rookie season when he threw Pat Freiermuth open? We raved about that. Like, okay. So I know you got it in there somewhere. It just has to come out now. The Hawk has to come out. I need you to be green at all times. The Hawk just needs to be out. You just need to be in that mode at all times. So, but all right, man, I'm going to take a few more of these comments really, really quick. And then, stick around for a second, because for those of you that missed it, we're going to revisit my office visit with Mr. Canada. Let's see what y'all got. Give me a few. Wes H says, I think the separation of duties between Faulkner and Sullivan is not to overwhelm the staff while stressing more emphasis on the fine details. Yeah, I believe that as well. And also, I think, man, it just allows more perspective from, more than one person, because it's been reported that the guys really like those two gentlemen. So it's just going to add more perspective from the run game and pass game if you got the running back coach, the quarterback coach collaborating. And obviously Kenny has a relationship, obviously, with Sullivan. So their conversation should be more like, what do we like to do? What's comfortable? What's not? And you build your new approach around that. Nathan Manco says, Sim, do you see us wearing our Color Rush jerseys on Thursday night against the Patriots? Possible. They usually pull them out during games like that. Gavin Carr says, Baker started a full season with the Browns, of course. I don't know. Maybe he's replying to someone there. Rajan says, maybe Kenny played bad to get Canada out of there. That's hilarious. Lyle McComb says, play calling will definitely be different. Will it be better? Woo, that's a fire question right there. Destiny says, a leader has to emerge on offense as well. They don't have one. It's looking like Jaylen Warren, right? Let me say something about Jaylen Warren real quick, too. You know what? Somebody brought up the idea of starting him over Najee, and I was like, nah, I'd rather have Najee start and then Jaylen come in, because I do like that dynamic, having the shiftier, more spark plug guy come in second. But you know what? I'm starting to maybe read into what some of you guys were saying is switch the rotation. Because maybe Jaylen Warren can give you that spark early, and then you let Najee be the one that comes in with a that different change of pace to wear guys down. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Only thing I would want to see is I still want to see that healthy balance between the two. But maybe you play Warren earlier and let him kick it off. I wouldn't be opposed to that. But what I definitely still want, though, is I want both of them playing the amount of snaps that they're both getting. Hey, Susie again. She says, I think JPJ is great, but needs to clean up all of the penalties. Absolutely. Those penalties have got to stop. We're giving him time. He's a rookie, but come on, buddy. Steeler Card says, Jaylen is averaging over 6 yards per carry, Najee under 4, and Jaylen nearly the same amount of yards with 50 less carries. Start Warren. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Steeler Card, but again, when you say start Warren, let's not forget they're both getting the full complement. It's basically pretty split in terms of carries. So you're really just deciding which guy you're going to put out on the field on the first series. Speaking of carries, can y'all answer two questions for me? Why did Jaylen Warren only have 9 carries? Why didn't we target George Pickens at all on the final 3 passes of the game for us? Guys, make sure y'all check out Dan Orlovsky's analysis of Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada. I think he describes it perfectly, and he describes kind of how I feel, how I put the blame on both of them. But how he explains it is exactly how I feel. Scheme doesn't help the quarterback, but the two of them together weren't good. Let's see. What else? Mr. Malvo says, Sim, same reason Najee is the starter. Okay. Wes says, after his 74-yard run, Warren never got another touch until the fourth quarter. Man, it baffles me, man. Why Diggy said, you sound like Dan Orlovsky. One more. Steelers Freak says, folks say Steelers don't change. They are using 2 running backs and got rid of Canada. Both are big for the team. Absolutely. Big for the team. But all right, guys, before I go, in case you missed it, I'm going to replay my conversation with Matt Canada before we get out of here. Check this out, good people, for your viewing pleasure. Hey, Mr. Canada, how you doing? How you doing? Come on in. Come on in, man. Let me talk to you for just a moment. Hey, it won't take that long at all, I promise. Come on in. Yeah, sit right there, right in front of me. Not back there behind me, right in front of me so I can get a good look at you. Hey, before we get started, I just want to ask, how's your day going so far? Oh, really? Okay, good. Glad to hear that. This won't take long, I promise. Hey, before we dive into it, I just want to say I truly thank you for everything that you've done for this organization, which is absolutely nothing. You have done nothing for this organization with a Hall of Fame quarterback, a young rookie, a young second-year player, and still nothing. You have done nothing but drain the blood out of the soul of this city and this fan base. How is it possible that you don't have at least one 400-yard total offensive game? How is that possible? How? You've done absolutely nothing. The only thing that you've done well, you have made me despise the word Canada. And I love the country. But because of you, anything associated with the word Canada, I can't do. I will not drink Canada Dry. I will not eat Canadian bacon. And I will not even listen to Drake because it's all associated with the word Canada. And that is because of you. The only thing that you've done for me today that gives me great pleasure is to inform you that you are fired. Fired. Get your and get out of here. Boy, that felt good. Sorry to have had done that to you, Mr. Canada, but hey. All the best to you, my friend. All right, well, before you guys go, man, listen, y'all know y'all got to do this for me. A lot of people in here tonight, and I appreciate and love each and every one of y'all right here, man. If you like what you saw tonight, hit that like button. If you really like what you saw, subscribe to the channel. And once you have subscribed, turn on your notifications so you know when the videos are being streamed or have been uploaded. But outside of that, what I will say to you lovely people, man, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, and I have to say if, because a lot of people feel differently about how it derived, and I can't say I blame them. So I would just say enjoy your holiday with your family. Be thankful for your family and everything that you have for and with them. Have some good eats, as they say in the South. And I hope everybody stays blessed. Stay well. Stay safe. And if you're drinking, be responsible with it. Thank y'all for tuning in like always, man. I shall see you guys. Well, I don't know. Hold on. I should have a before play but actually there may be some complications with Sunday's game because I'm gonna be in New York during the weekend, and there's a chance that I may not be stationary when the game is on Sunday. So if not, what I would probably do if I have to rewatch the game, the condensed version, and then do a show later that night, maybe that's what would happen, but we'll see. Either way, I'll do something on Sunday. It just might not be the normal post-game show because I have to travel. But other than that, again, stay safe, stay blessed, be responsible, have a lovely time. And like always, thank you guys for tuning in to Terrible Towel Tuesday. I shall catch you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.